right, what's going on, everyone? I want to just say I appreciate each and every one of you who's tuning in to my review of the entire Sopranos series. I'm a little late to the party, but I just finished The Sopranos for the very first time this week, and I couldn't wait to talk about it. But before I actually get into the review, I just want to thank each and every one of you who has allowed my channel to hit officially 502 subscribers. Didn't think I would start out ever making that, but I mean, hey, I know it's a long way from all the other successful YouTube channels, but I think it's awesome. So I appreciate each and every one of you who tune in every time I put a video out. I appreciate the ones that respond back, and I've already gotten a couple suggestions on a couple reviews somebody wants me to do, so I will make sure that I hit those here in the next couple weeks. But with that being said, this is my brother Chris Reyes.
Hello, hello.
And he is a huge fan of The Sopranos, and he goes into a lot more deep diving than I ever do on a show like this. And he has told me, I guess a couple years now, that I've needed to watch Sopranos, and I just never got around to doing it because I don't have HBO. And when it came available last year on Vudu, I bought it. It went down to it was like $80-something. It went down to $30. And I was like, man, I can't pass it up because I'm a big fan of mafia movies. I love like the Goodfellas. I love Public Enemies. Casino. And I don't know if you consider this a mafia movie, but I love like Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. I always kind of consider that one as well. But I didn't think I could go wrong with buying The Sopranos for $30. I mean, now.
No, even if you hated it, you still got a value.
Right. But anyway, like I said, I know a lot of you guys and gals have watched The Sopranos. I mean, the show ended, I don't know how many years ago. And
I was late to the party too. So,
well, I know the guy that played Tony Soprano, which he's a great actor. I know he passed away in 2013. So, I mean, heck, it's been, 12 years ago he passed away. That, yeah. But overall, like I said, after watching it, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and do a review because, there is people out there that are kind of like I was on the fence about watching it. And it was just kind of one of those, I just don't know if it would really click with me because I'm more of a big, I would say, sitcom kind of guy when it comes to TVs or something funny, like
something you can turn your brain off to.
Yeah, and my favorite, I would say probably my favorite actual show that you actually have to pay attention to is Dexter. I'm a big Dexter fan, and then I love Sons of Anarchy, I love Breaking Bad, and then when it came to Sopranos, I was like, all right, so. Even Chris can kind of vouch for me on this. When I first bought the series on Vudu, I watched like 3 or 4 episodes, and it just stopped right there. Like I never watched it anymore. And Chris would call me and be like, well, how far are you into The Sopranos? And I'm like, I'm still on the episode 4. It was just...
I was wanting to talk to him about it so bad, and it's just like, I'd pull up your Vudu at my house to watch like something else, and it's like, he's still on that episode.
Yeah. And what it was is... me and my wife, we never watch anything together. I like good shows. She's like crappy shows. She likes the stuff like Grey's Anatomy and stuff, and I don't like that. And anyway, me and her started watching Tulsa King together. And then when I bought The Sopranos, I was like, all right, let's sit down and actually start it. And we just never could. Our timing was never right to watch it. So finally, I was like, all right, I'm going to go and start watching it. And if you want to watch it later, that's cool. And once I got hooked, I mean, they got me on the hook and they reeled me in. And it was just within a couple months I binge watched all. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it says 6A and 6B on the season. I don't know why it just didn't say 7 seasons.
Supposedly they did that so they wouldn't have to pay the cast and crew for basically like a raise for season 7. So we'll just cut it in half.
Oh, that's kind of dirty.
Yeah,
but
from what I was looking at online.
Well, with that being said, I guess we're going to go ahead and get into the review. Man. I figured, honestly, we're not going to go season by season because I will be 100% real with each and every one of you that binge watching it like this, it just felt like a long mafia movie. And I can't tell you which is the best season because next thing I know, I'm sitting there watching it and boom, it would go into the next season. Yeah. So before any of you guys and gals watch this review, just a heads up, it is going to contain a lot of spoilers. But the show's been out for years, and I can't say, well, you should have watched it because I just finished watching it. So if you've never seen it and you do want to watch it, I advise you not to watch this. If you don't care about spoilers, well, then stay with us. So Chris, man, I'm gonna kind of let you lead off with it. Just start on a talking point, and we'll rock and roll with this thing.
All right. Well, I mean, it just starts out with Tony Soprano. He's just kind of your everyday guy from the way he talks. And he's kind of monologuing about how he thinks the good days of the mafia have already passed, and he's coming in at the end of it. And then all of a sudden, he has a panic attack, and then we're in what's her name, Milfy's office, his therapist, and then we're right into gear and scooting right along. And he don't want people to know that he's in therapy because that's a big no-no for the mob, because he could be spilling secrets and that kind of thing and saying stuff he shouldn't be saying.
It makes him look weak as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing you don't want to be in this world. So that's where we lead off. So I guess we can get into the therapy sessions, because apparently some people say that you can cut those out completely. I found them really interesting myself.
I really don't know why anybody would say that. I actually enjoyed the therapy sessions he had with Milfy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
I know her first name's Jennifer.
Yeah, Milfy is the last name.
I thought his therapy sessions was really good and brought a lot to the show. I don't know why you would want to cut it out. Because
apparently there's people that watch it that way. They fast forward through it and just say it's unnecessary. But I think it adds layers to Tony.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It shows his true side, if you want to be real about it.
Yeah.
Like how hard he is and ruthless and vulnerable at times. Well, then when he's in there with her, he opens up why he's that way or what he's struggling through. But yeah, like I don't see any purpose of taking those out. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
The only missed opportunity, and like I said, I'm not going season by season because I don't even know when this happened, but the scene where Milfy got raped.
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for her to spill the beans on accident to Tony. Yeah. I would have loved to see how Tony would have responded to that.
Oh, that dude would have been gone that episode.
And they never nailed it. And I was like, but I like that. I also like that she didn't spill the beans because she knew what would happen if she told him.
Yeah, she knows who Tony is.
So
she would have been an accomplice.
So that really shows her character too, which I don't know if you know this, but she was also in Goodfellas.
Yeah, it was what's his name?
The main guy's wife.
Wife, yeah.
She ain't bad looking in The Sopranos. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No,
I like them older women. But no, I mean, kind of what I'm gonna go with. Me being the first time viewer on it, I enjoyed every minute of The Sopranos. I will say that I don't feel like there was a weak season, and I can't say there was one better than each season. Like, with shows like Breaking Bad, we say, man, from start to finish, boom, it just kept getting better and better. Mm-hmm. Dexter, people will say 1 to 4, which I'm included, is the golden seasons, and then it kind of drops off, then it does. I feel like The Sopranos, each season was unique in its own way. The only thing I will say, as far as any, I guess, negative stuff toward it, is there really wasn't a build-up or to the ending of the entire show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what I mean by that is, okay, with Sons of Anarchy, I'm just using these shows for example, but like Sons, you're building up, you're seeing Jax wanting to be like his father, but he ends up turning out to be Clay, and the way he's leading the group, leading the Sun SOA, Well, then it came to a finale where you seen everybody go their own ways, how it ended, what happened to Jax. Breaking Bad, you knew that the clock was ticking on Walter White. You seen Jesse grow as a character. You knew that Walter was eventually going to die or get caught. Dexter, we'll use him for example. Every season you're like, is he going to get caught? What's going to happen? Sopranos was nothing like that. I just feel like there was, I don't know how to say it really. There was no big, by the time I got to the end of this series, I just kind of felt like, okay. When and the sucky part was I knew how it ended. Because
did you know the scene and everything of how it ended?
Oh, I've seen that scene. When the night it ended years ago, when everybody was going nuts on it, when I finally got Facebook, I had seen that where how it ended with the song, him looking up and everything. But I didn't know the context of it. So we'll get into that here in a minute. Okay. But That's what I'm saying. It was just to the simple fact that there was nothing ever building up.
And there's one guy on YouTube that I watch, and like he said, I listen to a lot of the deep dive type stuff, but I'm no expert on the show either. I've watched the whole series twice, and even he can tell you, like, I'll watch a show from start to finish, but like I don't jump right back into it immediately. And
Unless it's The Office.
Yeah. But like The Sopranos, like I finished it, and then like a couple months later, I just restarted it and just went right back through it because I liked it so much. The guy on YouTube is Pure Kino, and I think he's even mentioned before, like you could just kind of pick and choose episodes to watch. They're not like episodic where like last week's episode goes into this week and goes into the next week. And like until he said that, I didn't really pay attention to that. I was like, yeah, I guess. I mean, certain things he said each episode, a lot of times, not always, but sometimes is like its own little mini movie. I was like, okay, yeah, I can kind of see that now that he said that.
And I agree with that 100% because that's what I was saying. It was like, even when this season ended, like from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, I never even caught on that the season ended because there was no big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And I just feel like this was a really long mafia movie that I enjoyed every minute of it. But you are right. I didn't think about that. But yeah, you could literally, as long as you watch the first few episodes, yeah, there was. I feel like you could skip. This one ain't really got nothing in it.
No.
But before we discuss the end, I kind of want to save that for the end.
Okay.
I'm going to go on record and say, and I was going to post this on Facebook the other day. I have a picture of them. AJ and Meadow are the two worst kids I've ever seen on a series. Meadow, she really redeemed herself toward the end. But my gosh, the way they're spoiled and the way AJ, he almost has me to where when I was watching it, I would literally almost skip his parts. I didn't, but man, he's a spoiled, whiny little brat.
Right after I watched it the first time, I had posted on Facebook, finally finished Sopranos, blah, blah, blah. I like this. I said one of the most worthless characters I've ever seen in a show was AJ.
Yes.
And one of our buddies messaged me and was like, you're not alone in that. He said a lot of people think that. I was just like, what? Like he sucked.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the kid's acting because I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, he's acting. Good. Just the character was
but
just like
the first, I don't know, man. The first couple seasons, I was like, man, Meadow was just, oh my gosh.
Meadow didn't bother me so much.
Well, she bothered me the first couple seasons because how smart aleck she was toward her mom and stuff like that. And she was daddy's little girl. But then once she started redeeming herself as far as when she went off to college and she started going to school and
becoming a young woman.
Yeah. Then she was cool. I was like, okay, because by the time The Sopranos ended, I was cool with her. AJ was still just a ball bag, and I was just like, man. But go ahead.
I was going to say, like, outside of AJ, one of them that stuck to me, like, when I watch The Office, I always say that Nellie and Robert California almost ruined the show for me. Robert California's kind of grown on me. Nellie, to this day, I'm just like,
oh, yeah.
Tony's mom in this show was like that.
Yes.
I was just like, oh my gosh, like I can't stand her. Like same thing. I didn't do it, but I wanted to fast forward every time she was on TV. I was just like,
she pulls the guilt trip every scene.
Every time she's on there. Just annoying as all hell. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wanted to reach through the TV and choke her.
Yeah. I'm glad she didn't last long. Or she didn't last like through the whole series.
You know why they cut her out on season 3?
Why?
She died in real life.
Oh.
Because if you towards the end of season 2, they had the whole thing that was going to lead into season 3 with the plane tickets.
Yeah.
And then like episode 1 or 2 of the next season, yeah, she died.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that sucks. I mean, I didn't want her to exit the show like that because they had built it up too, where like, well, how's this going to play out? But yeah, she died. So
but it worked perfect because the secret died with her.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So she passed in real life going into season 3. I think I've seen online she actually died towards the end of season 2. And then there's a scene later on. I don't know what season it is, but apparently they CGI her head on somebody's body. Did you notice that? I didn't the first time I watched it.
If I look close enough now, probably.
Yeah.
No, I will say one thing too is the characters are well written for in this series. I really liked how almost everybody had their own story, But I will say that a lot of these characters I absolutely just didn't enjoy because they are all scumbags.
Yeah, I mean, even Tony, to a large
Exactly.
degree.
Like it always bothers me when like somebody you really like ends up dying in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this one right here, every time somebody got popped off, I was like, okay. The only one that I literally was watching this past week and I was gritting my teeth going, don't do it, is when they capped Bobby.
Oh,
When Bobby, he is my favorite character of the entire show. When he was in that train store and he was fixing to buy him a train set,
mm-hmm.
I was like, no, no, don't kill.
He left his phone in the car, and I was just like, oh, man.
As soon as it showed them trying to call Bobby and his phone was in his car, I knew he was because he was such a good dude. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he killed people for the mafia, but like he loved his wife.
Mm-hmm.
I really like how they played him to be such a good guy because I mean, like, he wouldn't even eat her last meal that he made for her. He loved his wife, his kids. He adored his kids, and I really hated that Janice ended up with him because she was a user.
Yeah, she reminded me of, I guess, a younger version of Olivia, the mom. I was just like, yeah, she's another one where I was just like, somebody's going to tear her up at some point, and then yeah, she never really got her comeuppance, I guess.
And the big shock to me, the biggest shock of the entire thing was when Janice killed Richie.
Yeah,
I was like, I know, I was like, holy crap! Like she what? Hey,
she took a punch too.
She did. And when he looked at her and said, "What, you gonna cry now?" Dude, she turned around and came back with that gun. I was like, she's just gonna threaten him.
Yeah,
dude. When she capped him, I was like, holy crap! Like that's exactly what I said while I was watching it. And see, I know Richie from Everybody Loves Raymond. And he said, and he's a good dude on that. To see him play this scumbag, I was like, dang.
And the thing that stuck out to me about Richie too, he's so intense on that show. And like I think Tony would talk about how big his eyes, what do you call them, Manson lamps?
Mm-hmm.
Turn your Manson lamps away from me or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like he just looked at him like, if looks could kill,
oh yeah,
Tony wouldn't have made it out of that scene.
Oh no.
But I liked Richie. I thought he was pretty good character. I liked him a lot.
I don't know the guy's name. He's from the Goonies, but he was in this.
Ralph Cifaretto or whatever.
He was one that I was like, as soon as I seen him on the first couple episodes, I was like, he's got to go.
Yeah.
And I hated that he lasted all the way to what, season 4?
Something. He was around for a minute.
Oh, I couldn't stand him, man.
Did you see the little pizza parlor I was talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of my buddies, shout out to Darren, he was trying to get me to watch Sopranos for years. He brought me to that Lodi's Pizza, I think was the name of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And we got to eat there. But yeah, he is one of those where like he's almost like the devil incarnate on some parts. It's just like, man, I'm ready for somebody to beat his butt. Like,
and I was glad it was Tony.
Yeah.
When they started fighting in the kitchen, I was like, get him. Tony. And there was another thing is like, I like the therapy sessions like when he was talking about at the beginning where he would watch the ducks and they flew away.
Yeah.
Well, then the horse really meant something to him. Mm-hmm. That's why I said I don't feel like you should cut out the therapy sessions. Yeah. I think they match. But another character that I will say that I enjoyed that I don't know if a lot of people do, I like Junior. I thought that it's not that I liked him. I thought the guy, the older man who's still alive, by the way, I didn't know that. He portrayed him really good. And it almost made me feel bad when he started having Alzheimer's and all that toward the end.
Yeah, like he faked it there for a little while and then actually ended up with it. But like towards the end of season 1 where like they're kind of fighting and Tony kind of almost works him really, is like, well, we'll say you take over, but I'm really going to run stuff. He doesn't say it like that, but that's basically what happens.
Right.
I thought going into when he didn't die at the end of season 1, I was like, Junior's gone season 2. And he was there the whole show.
Yeah, all the way up to the very end. But yeah, that was another scene where when he come downstairs and he shot Tony, that was another one. I mean, which I knew he didn't die, Tony, of course, but my eyes got real big. I was like, what the heck? And then I felt so bad for him because he runs upstairs, he throws the gun underneath the bed, and then he hides in a closet. He's scared.
Yeah.
And I was like, this dude ain't faking, you know? But yeah, I really feel like he was, I will say it, I think the entire crew did a phenomenal job. Yeah. I may not like the characters as much, and it's not that I didn't like the characters. Like, I enjoyed the show. It's just that there was nobody you could really get behind and root for.
Like when you would start liking somebody, they'd do something just like, why did you do that? Like Paulie. I love Paulie. I think he's hilarious. But then he just kills that old woman and robs her.
I don't remember when he kills an old lady and robs her.
She catches him like digging
Oh,
under
yeah,
her bed
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
He smothers her.
Yeah. And I did like Paulie to an extent, but he played it really good. And the one that I really thought he was a great actor, but I hated his character was Christopher. He was a scumbag, and
Druggy.
I loved Adriana.
Yeah.
And she's also known from Sons of Anarchy, but she did this before Sons, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I knew her from, because when we watched her on Sons, I think it was Darren, was just like, dude, she looks like crap on Sons. And I was like, that's the only thing I know her from. He's like, oh, dude, she's gorgeous on Sopranos. I hadn't seen it at the time. I was like, I just know her from Sons.
That was another scene, another spot that made me not like any of them was when they killed her.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
And my dude killed her.
And we're going to have to talk about him. What's his name?
Silvio.
Which you know he's I don't know if you know who he actually is in real life.
Bruce Springsteen's guitarist.
Yeah, like he's an actual musician and stuff. His character was okay to me, but the first episode I seen him on, I didn't like him. All the way up to then, I really didn't care for him because he. I don't know if they want him to be this way, but I feel like he was trying too hard to be a mafia guy because he was.
He always had that.
Yeah, and the way he did it, he was trying to be a mafia guy that was from like a Dick Tracy movie or something. The way he was just like
kind of cartooning,
yeah,
a little bit.
Like I don't know, maybe that's just something how he really talks. I don't know, but yeah, as soon as they called Adriana and was like, "Hey, Christopher's sick," blah blah blah, I was like, "Nope," because the way I knew it is they said, "I'll send somebody over to get you." Mm-hmm. I was like, "Yep." I was like, They're fixing to kill her. I felt bad for her because she put up a lot of crap with Christopher.
Yeah.
And then when he got married, he started screwing around on his wife and stuff. I was like, this is just a douche nugget, you know?
Yeah. He like it's, at one point, like you said, they're all good characters, and like you cheer for them all at one point or another. Most of them anyway.
I was fixing. Hold on, there's a few I didn't cheer for.
But like I liked Christopher for a little while, but then he'd punch Adriana or choke her or something like that, and it's just like. Gosh, but then you go back and it's like, well, he was on drugs, like trying to justify it almost, and it's just like, oh. And then when they was trying to do the not the therapy session, what was it, the like the AA meeting type thing with him, that was hilarious because I know the dude is Casey Jones from the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, let's not attack him, and immediately they're just like, you better listen, Chrissy.
yeah.
And they just jump all over him, and then he ends up, he killed her. Was it cat or dog? He sat on it.
He sat on the dog. He passed out.
And he was all doped up, and then he smothered it or broke its neck or something.
Did you know they really did an intervention for what's the guy that played Tony Soprano?
Oh, James Gandolfini?
Did you know they did an intervention for him? They said as soon as he walked in, he went, "Oh, F this," and turned around. And they said something to him, and he said, "Fire me then." Mm. I didn't know he was, they said he really struggled with, I guess, drugs and alcohol. It may have been, I don't know what kind of drugs, maybe it was just pills or something.
Maybe.
But, yeah, I know that they said he was a good guy. They said he was a really nice, kind guy. It's just, the people have struggles, man. And did you know his last movie is with Tom Hardy? He never got to see the movie finished.
What was it? Do you know what offhand?
No, I don't.
The only thing I remember seeing him in before, like years and years ago, was an 8mm with Nicolas Cage. Well, I think he had a role in that, but I didn't really remember seeing him in anything.
He was also in a Steve Carell movie where Steve Carell and Jim Carrey are magicians.
Oh, I've seen that once, but
okay,
yeah, I don't remember seeing him. Which
man, I wish I could remember what it's called, but I'll have to look it up. But I watched the trailer for it. But he, like I said, I think he's a great actor anyway. But every interview I've watched with him. With the cast, they said how sweet of a guy he was, and like I've watched some TMZ videos where they're messing with him and talking to him, and he's cutting up with the cameraman and laughing. But it's just, man, it just got the best of him. And they asked the director of The Sopranos, was it a shock to you when you found out he died? And he said, no, absolutely not. He said he didn't take care of himself as far as food wise and health wise, but But I mean, I don't think that's going to hurt his legacy because, like
No,
I said, we all struggle with something. But
you could tell too from the first episode to the last. Like he
oh
put
yeah,
on a good chunk of weight too.
but like anyway, like I said, to kind of get off that, I feel like sometimes maybe I wonder if they used real life problems that he had and put them in there, you know. But I want to talk about this because there's a scene that really I take it one way, and I want to hear what you think. The scene where he actually killed Christopher in the car wreck. Why do you feel like he did that?
I think he got to the point where he couldn't trust him because he was supposed to have been clean, and then he'd fall off the wagon again, then he'd get clean again, and then honestly, when he seen the car seat in the back that was just destroyed, I think he was just like, "I'm done with this guy," and was just like, "I can't trust him," and just he just basically took him out of his misery and got him off the board, so to speak.
Did you know before that there was a deleted scene you can watch? Have you seen the deleted scene where Christopher's having a party and he didn't invite Tony and
Oh
Carmela?
yeah.
So I kind of wish they would have kept that in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the way I took it, is because if you watch that scene when he's sitting there and he's like, "I'm going to get help, Christopher. I'm going to get help," and he starts spitting the blood, and he's like, "Tony," he's like, "I'll never pass a drug test."
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he says that, Tony just his whole demeanor changes. And yeah, when he got out and he looked at that car seat and the car seat was demolished by that branch,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was like, oh man.
Like if his kid would have been with him, his kid would have been killed.
And he did care for Christopher.
Yeah.
I love the scenes where they got along great.
Mm-hmm.
But like when they stole the wine,
Yeah.
I thought that was a good scene. I really enjoyed the episodes where it was more happiness and up and going. I will say Paulie did grow on me.
Yeah.
I like him. This right here. But I will say my favorite episode out of every single, this is what I was saying, it stuck out to me, is Paulie and Christopher chasing that guy in the snow.
That's everybody's favorite.
That is actually, I will say, I enjoyed that episode so much. That's where I started liking Paulie. But Paulie's dirty too, because remember Paulie tried to blame Christopher, and Christopher hurt him in the van. He's dirty, man. But yeah, that's my absolute favorite episode. I really enjoyed that one.
The part where
and they never found him.
No, like Tony was trying to call him, and their phone was cutting out, and he's like, "He killed 16 Czechoslovakians." He's like, he said he's an interior decorator. He's like, "Really? His apartment looked like crap."
Yeah.
Apparently, that got brought up later in the show too, because the creator, David Chase, apparently he just don't like letting fans have any kind of closure on these shows.
Yeah.
And somebody said something about bringing that Russian guy back, and it was going to be a scene where Christopher saw him in like a bar or something, and you could tell like they connect eyes, and the guy knew him, but he couldn't talk, and then he turns around and he's got a hole in his head where the bullet hit him, but it didn't kill him, and he had like brain damage. So like he knew who he was, but he couldn't communicate it. But they just cut it out because he was like, "No, I don't want people to do that. I don't want to give them closure."
Now that you say that, because there's one storyline that I wish we would have got, and that was between Furio and Carmela.
Yeah, they would have been good together. And I
don't care what anybody says. I'm going to go on record real quick. Everybody wants to freaking hate on Pam from The Office. Everybody wants to hate on Skylar from Breaking Bad. Carmela had every single right to feel the way she felt.
Yeah.
And I think she was the backbone of the family. And I was glad that she put her foot down. And I was happy when her and Tony did get back together, because Tony was faithful to her for a little bit.
Yeah.
But he fell right back into stuff. But anyway, I like Carmela. I think she was really good, and she brought a lot to it. But I'm sure there's people out there, "Oh, she sucked." No, I liked her, man. I've heard people bash on Rita from Dexter.
There's just people just pissing him on.
I hate to hate. It's the keyboard warriors, you know.
Yeah, with Furio, like he was ruthless too. Like I remember he first brought him in, and there was a massage parlor or something he went into, and Tony just sat out in the car.
Yeah, it was I think it was like a massage and hair and nails and stuff.
Yeah, he went in there and he beat the crap out of everybody, and Tony just out there smoking, just laughing, kind of living it up, like I got the right guy. And then when he was falling for Carmela, they was on the roof by the helicopter peeing, and he thought about pushing Tony into that blade, and I was just like, oh. I knew he wasn't going to, but I was just like, this is going to build up to something. And then he's just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You never see him again.
Like he grabbed a hold of him. Well, you remember when she said that she liked Furio? Ain't that his name, Furio?
Yeah.
Tony was sent to look out for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like...
He went back to Italy or whatever.
Right there, that to me is where it's such a hypocrite thing because...
I can cheat on you, but you don't cheat on me.
Yeah. Also, I will say that I was surprised they killed Big Puss off. I'm not going to say his full name because I don't like that P word, but I was surprised they killed him. I thought he was going to be a major player in it.
Yeah, because didn't they... Was that teased at the end of season 1? And then it came to fruition, too. They found the wire and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was having that nightmare, basically telling him, like, the fish was talking, like, you got to do what you got to do, Tone, or whatever. Yeah, I liked him, too. And then, he was an informant, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that, too, because, like, they was buddies, and you see the flashbacks, like, they knew each other for years and years, and then Big Puss knew he was dead. He was out there on the boat, and he's like, you care if I sit down, Tone? And he went to sit down, and they all just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
And then just buried him at sea.
Yeah. Vito.
Oh, yeah. See? That's another one, like, I like Vito for the most part. And then, like, the scene where he was on that farm trying to work, and he's like, the sun's overhead. I bet I've been here for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
15 minutes, he's like, ah!
Yeah. And we've all done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do kind of wish that he could have worked his way back in there. But I'll say the biggest scumbag of it was Phil.
Oh, I couldn't wait to see him bite it.
Oh, he didn't want to negotiate with nobody. Tony would try to do his best to work something out, and Phil was just a scumbag, and he's the one that had Bobby killed, and that pisses me off. I love Bobby. Did you like Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby was cool.
I felt bad when they would make fun of him because how big he was.
Yeah, and the first couple of seasons, he wore a fat suit.
Did he?
Yeah.
I was thinking he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, they stopped wearing him or making him wear it.
I love when Vito, because Vito was big before he lost all that weight.
Mm-hmm.
When Vito and Bobby's talking, and Polly walks in, he's like, hey, look. And he's doing like this, and he's like, what did he say? The Weight Watchers, he goes, after and way after, like that. And he was like, but Bobby, his reactions where he'd go, come on, Tone, or Junior. Like, he really cared for Junior.
Yeah. He was one of the few that came off sincere.
Yes. Johnny Sack, I thought, did real good in the show.
Yeah, that's one thing that peed me off, too, with Phil. Like, when they arrested him at his daughter's wedding, and he was just like, I lost all respect for him. He was like, he's going to jail, my guy. Like, at his daughter's wedding, he didn't want that to happen there. They kind of came in early.
Who said they lost all respect?
Phil. They were all talking in a circle. Yeah. And he was just like, I don't respect him.
I think it was because he started crying.
Yeah, but still, it's like his daughter's wedding, and then they cuff him and take him off, and Phil was just like.
And see, that was another thing. I hated the fact that Paulie would lie. Paulie's one that snitched about old boy making fun of his wife about the big mole.
Jenny.
Yeah, and then he never would man up and fess that they did it. But he knew toward the end. I think it was like the last 3 episodes when Paulie and Tony was out. They were leaving because that body they were digging up.
Oh, back like on the boat.
But when he was like, let's get on the boat. Paulie looked around and he was like, oh, okay.
I think he was going to kill him, and then he thought better of it. I think he was going to bring him out there like a
big puss.
Big puss, yeah.
Yeah, because Tony looked over there and he saw the big old like gutting knife that they do for fish and stuff. And he looked at it, but he was trying to get him to admit it because he was like, did you tell that joke? He's like, did you tell him? Because it was funny. And he was like, no, Tone. He wasn't stupid.
No.
I'll say that about him.
That's how he stayed alive so long. But he wasn't loyal to Tony like some people thought he was. Like, he was going to go wherever was going to save his butt.
Yeah. Like the storylines with each character, like I said, I feel like they written everything really well, all the way up to even the chef, Artie.
Yeah, I liked Artie. Artie seemed like he was a pretty genuine dude, too. Like, and his wife started having the issues and stuff, and he was trying to flirt around with Adriana, but it was just like, I thought he was a good dude. And he pulled that gun on Tony. He was tired of his crap.
Because Tony did burn his place.
Mm-hmm.
But that was another thing is where Tony gave Adriana a ride home.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to buy drugs, but nothing ever happened between them. And Christopher went nuts.
Yep.
But when they brought Christopher out and he was tied up and they were going to shoot him, I was waiting for that. I was like, come on. And then when he let him go, I was like, Are you serious? But
What about Tony B? Steve Buscemi?
yeah,
Tony Blendetto? Apparently, a lot of fans didn't like that character. I liked him.
I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I
he was
feel
supposed to have been around for 2 seasons, and they cut him down for whatever reason.
Mhm.
But I like that character.
I mean, I like that he was trying to earn straight.
Yeah.
I do like that, but I don't feel like he brought a whole lot to the table. But then again, it may have been because he wasn't in it long enough. All he did was he didn't do it deliberately, but all he did was cause problem again between Christopher and Tony.
Mm-hmm.
But
he started the war basically with New York and New Jersey.
Yeah,
because he killed Phil's brother.
Yeah.
I think he shot Phil too, didn't he?
No, he didn't kill.
I thought
Phil.
no. I mean, he shot.
Oh,
Phil,
oh yeah. I thought. Yeah.
He didn't kill him, but he killed his brother. So that's what started the whole thing.
I want to get your opinion on the end. Are you ready to discuss the end, or no, or you got more?
Yeah.
You'd like?
Yeah.
Well, before we get into it, I want to kind of give my perspective since you've deep dived. But you sent me a video to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it, and I don't know who the YouTuber is, and I'm not going to mention their name because, like I said, I think they did a great job, but I don't buy anything in that video.
Oh, was it like the one that was like 30 minutes almost?
Yeah, and it was talking about how this was reminiscence of the Last Supper and all this and that. Now
he placed the onion ring in his
yes,
mouth.
like
I liked it, but
like the body of Christ, and then this. No, you're going way too far into it. There was aspects of it where, like the posters behind them, there was a 22 on this side and a 38 on this side. I could see that 38.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that, but I will go on record and say that I feel like this was a great ending.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like before the finale, Tony is sitting there with his gun at the edge of the bed, and you can hear him and Bobby talking while they were in the fishing boat. And then it cuts to him saying something about, "Do you
I bet
think?"
you don't even hear it when it happens.
That's what I dug about it. Is that who shot Tony? That's the thing. Is because they have one guy sitting here that he never looked up. I'm going to say it's a guy from the bar because he looked back twice. Why would he show that? And there was a couple guys that walked in that could have been gang members. You don't know.
There was like a older, like hunter-looking guy.
Yeah,
and a couple of like gangbanger-looking guys that they had issues like early in the seasons with, and then a lot of people call him the members-only jacket guy.
Yes,
at the bar.
But I feel like you could take anything and deep dive into it. I mean, you could go watch Dexter New Blood and go, well, I take it as this. Nah, I don't take it as no Last Supper and all. Because Tony ordered the sodas at the table. Come on. I don't buy any of that. And I don't think that AJ or Carmela died.
No.
Because the simple fact is that when they hit a boss or they hit somebody in the mafia, they never go after the family unless it's accidental. And I did agree where I feel like Meadow was kind of his guardian angel. Mm-hmm. Did he say that in the show? I can't remember. I don't remember
that.
I do know that there was a few times where he was in trouble and she was there. And since she was doing the legal system, since she was trying to be a lawyer, there was things that she helped out on.
Well, like when she was doing the college stuff, like the guy didn't want to shoot Tony in front of his daughter. So she kind of saved him there. And then when he was having the dream, where he was fixing to pass into the afterlife, it was her voice that was like, "Daddy, Daddy," and he came back.
Right.
And that's what I always said too. Like after watching some of these videos, I was like, that makes sense, her being the guardian angel, because she couldn't park her stupid car and she didn't get in there in time. Because if she would have got in there in time, she'd have been sitting where you're sitting. Mm-hmm. But she wasn't there, so Tony was wide open from the bathroom.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't feel like Carmela or AJ died.
Yeah.
Like, I know this is just a show, but in my mind, yeah, they saw it happen, of course, but AJ's off doing his thing. He's still being a movie guy because they set it up to where Carmela was going to be fine without him.
Yeah.
They already had, remember they were talking about the money because when she found out that he was hiding that money, she took some of it. Mm-hmm. But they had already had it to where he signed the papers and all that stuff. Remember when they were splitting up?
Yeah, yeah.
So she was settled. And then, yeah, the whole thing about Meadow not being able to park the car. I mean, that was obviously leading up to something drastic. And like you said, the only thing that sucks is thinking about as soon as she walked in, she saw her dad get killed, and that's the last thing he saw. Cause, I mean, I'm glad he looked up and seen Meadow, but for people to go, I was watching a thing where people argued about it, but no, I don't think he died. I just think the show went. No, he obviously died. It went black.
You'd be surprised because there's a lot of people that's like, oh, he could still be doing whatever. I think he went to jail, blah blah blah. Because even right before that scene, he had that. He sat down with his lawyer and he's like, "There's a 80 to 90% chance you're going to get indicted on the gun charge." So like, even if he didn't die, he went to jail most likely.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, I know you feel the same way I do, but with the way it just cut off, that's if they didn't intend that to happen, they would have never showed him and Bobby talking about it.
Yeah.
And until I hear the actual writer and director say, "Oh, well, we were trying to do the Last Supper, or we always doing this,"
yeah,
I ain't buying that. Because like even that video you showed me, they were like when she was sitting, when it was like the waitress comes over and sets the 3 drinks down, and I was like, I could pause anything. I could watch a Godzilla movie and be like, if you pause it right here, Godzilla takes up the full screen, symbolizing that he's fixing to crush every single one of them people. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, some of that video, it was just like, okay, but when they get into the hunter guy and that stuff, that's where it kind of grabbed my attention.
So how do you feel? Do you think AJ and Carmilla got killed too?
No, I think it was. I took it as just Tony because, like, even I'm having a brain fart, but the guy that played Christopher, him and Bobby had a podcast where they went episode by episode and talked about it and brought people on, and he said that he thought for years that Tony died, and now he says, well, after looking at this and that, he's like, no, I think Tony's still alive somewhere. He said, I don't think he died at all. But like me personally, like only thing I knew about the ending was it ended mid-sentence. That's it. That's all I knew. And so in my mind, for whatever reason, going into this, when they were going back into the house, there was so much happened in their kitchen. I thought, like I said, I don't know why this popped in my head, but I thought he was going to be sitting there in the kitchen talking to somebody, and somebody was going to come through the back door and pull a gun and black. That's what I was imagining in my head. So like when they're in the diner, I'm sitting there and stuff's just building and building, and I was like, oh, something's about to happen. Then it went black, and I was like, gosh dang it. Like, that's what they did. Okay.
So did you not like the ending? Now that you've watched it enough, do you think it was a good ending?
I liked it because, like you said, like the guy gets up because they make reference throughout the show to Godfather, which I've only watched that like once, but the guy got up and went to the bathroom,
gets the gun out.
Yeah. And then, you see the members only guy come and go that way to the bathroom, and then ding, ding, he looks up in black, and it's like, he got popped. Like immediately, the first time me and Heather watched that, I was like, she said, is that it? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he died. Like immediately. And I even told Darren, I was like, he died, right? And he's like, yeah, I think so.
Well, and that's what I was saying in that video. That's the only video, unless I'm wrong, you tell me. That's the only video time and I've ever heard anybody say that Carmella and AJ died as well.
I've seen some other people talk about it because, like, maybe they just wanted to get rid of the whole Soprano family and just didn't realize. Because if Meadow would have came in, she'd have seen her whole family get popped.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't even know who that was. But yeah, I just looked at it as they got Tony just right in front of his family.
Because there was absolutely no reason for them. If you look at the entire show, they're not going to kill the family. They're going to kill they're going to kill the main boss, or they're going to kill whoever is like working for him.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they go after his son? And so, but I did like the fact that thinking that he did look up and be able to see Meadow coming through.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like I said, it's one of those. But it sucks knowing that. What's his real name? Jim or James?
Well, James Gandolfini, but most people apparently called him Jim.
Well, it does suck to know that James is no longer here with us because. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'd really like to hear what he would have to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was a good ending because it puts you in his state of mind. It makes you kind of look through his eyes.
Yeah.
To where it's just, man, who knows? Does it really happen that quick?
And there was.
But I'm like you. If Meadow would have been there and she was sitting there, they wouldn't have had a perfect shot.
Yeah. And there was people that was saying something too about maybe when he walked in that diner, he looks straight ahead and he sees himself sitting there in that seat. And people's like, maybe he's in purgatory, and he's just replaying that over and over and over and over because he died there. because like he literally like he looks around and then he sees himself sitting there.
Yeah.
The way they cut it, it looks like he's looking at himself.
Yeah, because when I first seen that, I was like, because when he walks in, it's just a shot like this close to his face, and he's looking, and he goes around, and I don't think he's there yet.
No.
And then it cuts back to him, and he's looking straight at that shot, and then it cuts, and you see Tony sitting there like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's little things like that. There's like maybe.
Anyway, either way you look at it, he's got to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said something about it going black, or it's just lights out. I can't remember.
Because there's a scene where Syl is sitting in a diner in one of the earlier seasons, and he's talking, and it fades out, and you just hear,
yeah,
and then and he got blood on him, and he's like he didn't hear it, and somebody got popped right in front of him. I think that was basically what happened to Tony there at the end.
And that shows right there another thing. They killed their target. They didn't kill anybody else around them.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I feel like Carmella. I mean, yeah, it scarred them probably for life, but I still feel like Carmella, AJ, and Meadow are out doing their thing. You know.
Maybe Carmella went off to Italy and met up with Furio.
But I didn't even know there was a prequel movie that you were telling me about.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Honestly, it's okay. I don't think it's on the same level as the show.
And it's his real life son playing him.
Yeah.
I bet that was emotional for him.
Yeah, he looks a lot like him. It's a little weird because he's got longer hair, which I think even Carmella said in the series when he was in the coma, like, I rubbed my hands through your long hair. And so, yeah, he looks a lot like him. But, like, I didn't think the movie was great. Yeah. It's not like a top-tier movie. Like, it wasn't on the same level as the show, in my opinion, because they basically touted it as, see how Tony Soprano got started. But it was more of a movie about Christopher's dad. Forget what his name was.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was last name.
Well, they had to make money, and that's how they're going to.
Yeah.
And this was right after he died, too, right, James?
They
made it after he died.
Yeah, this just came out in like 2019 or 20. It's not
so
that old.
They were still going to build off James' legacy. So it wasn't like the Breaking Bad movie.
No.
What was that one called?
El Camino.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was good.
No, I've only watched the movie once, and like I said, it was okay, but it wasn't like, it's not on the level as the show.
Right. But no, I mean, unless you got anything else to discuss, I mean, I feel like that's really what stuck out to me about the entire show. I feel like from start to finish, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but I'm going to go ahead and say it before we sign off. Am I the only one that noticed Tony Soprano breathing through his nose the entire show? I was watching that, and he was the entire scenes. I was like, why is he breathing so heavy through his nose? Have you heard it?
I don't think I've paid attention to it. What got me was him every time he's eating, just playing with his food. Oh. And apparently they was like, why do you do that? And he said, because if I take a bite, they're going to shoot it from another angle. And he said, I'm sitting here eating all day. He's like, that's why if you notice when he's eating pasta and stuff, you don't really see him eat.
Never noticed.
Yeah, he plays with his food a lot, and it's just like, oh, just eat it already.
So something that I don't think I've ever really done on my channel, but with us discussing the entire franchise of The Sopranos, give it a grade.
A grade?
Yeah.
I've given this like kind of like your small town horror.
Yes, with Johnny and Randy.
Yeah. Occasionally me on there. I'll give it a solid like A-. Okay. I love this show. Definitely recommend.
Sure.
Yeah, like I said, I watched it twice, pretty close together, and I almost restarted it again recently because it's one of those that I think even if you go back and restart it, because like the first time you watch it, you're trying to remember names. You're trying to, and once you kind of know where it's going, you'll pick up on other stuff maybe you didn't catch the first go around.
And that's how I'm terrible with names. And that's like me and him would be talking while I'm watching this, and he would say something about, well, what'd you think about Bobby? And I'm like, hold on, let me think. Who's Bobby again? But I have to agree with you. I'll give this one an A-. Not going to give it any higher than that because I really do like the series, but I don't feel like this is one that I'm going to be watching over and over. Like, I've watched Breaking Bad and Dexter probably 5 or 6 times over. I will rewatch this one again because I did enjoy it. But the reason I'm giving it an A- instead of an A or A+ is because I do feel like there were certain things that was lacking. as far as the build up to stuff. Like I said, I just never really felt like there was a big point to it. Like, I don't know how to really explain it, but you know what I'm saying? It was just literally like you were just watching a movie.
Yeah.
Like they didn't, like when the seasons ended, there was no big, oh, I can't wait for season 2 or season 3. It was just like, it would end, you know, and it was like, oh, okay.
One thing we didn't really mention earlier, too, when you was talking about Phil, what did you think when they finally caught him? Was you expecting him to die the way he did?
Oh, no. When he got out to go make the phone call, and I guess that was his wife.
His wife, and I guess it was
his 2 grandbabies. Yeah, and he was like, Pop loves y'all or something like that. And he was like, he's like, I got to make a phone call. And they capped him right there.
Yeah.
I got nervous because then I was like, oh, crap. I thought the car was going to go off and the babies were going to get killed. But I'm glad you brought that up. Another point. They did not kill his wife or kids.
Yeah.
So why would they kill AJ and Carmela?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he deserved what he got. And then when he got his head ran over with the vehicle, I was like, ha, that's what you get.
Yep.
But, yeah, like I said, overall, fantastic series. I'm glad I did buy it for $30. And like I said, I will watch it again. It's just like right now I have no future plans of watching it, you know, anytime soon because it did, man. It caught my attention. Once I got in there, bam, I was hooked. But like you said, now that I can go back and watch it, I can start noticing little things.
Did you notice because like when Breaking Bad was kind of hitting its peak, there was a lot of comparisons. Like this is, you know, modern day Tony Soprano, and like after watching it, it's like, yeah, I can see the similarities because I've heard people say without Sopranos, like there wouldn't have been a Walter White,
right?
And I was like, I can see it. Like even some things they do in the show, I was just like, yep, that reminds me of Walter or something Walter did, you know.
Did you like the final scene with Junior and Tony?
Yeah, because I guess I don't know. I guess maybe it kind of gave Tony a little closure, but like Junior he didn't know who he was, so it was kind of heartbreaking to see like, you know, he loved Junior, and then Junior was all over him, you know, in the early shows, and then he was just like, "Do I know you?" Like,
yeah,
you and my dad used to run North Jersey or whatever, and he goes, "Oh yeah."
He goes, "That's nice."
Yeah, and he's just on another planet.
He looks at the birds.
Yeah,
he just looks out the window,
and you could tell it just crushed Tony. Just like he don't know what's going on, and he gets up and walks off, and you could tell he's like about to break down and cry.
So, out of every single one of them, the only one that made it out was Paulie.
Yeah, and apparently, I mean, he'd done that for years and years because I think they even made reference to like, you know, I used to work with so and so, and that's how they always say. Paulie does what he does to survive. He's like a rat.
Do you think Paulie is the head over the Sopranos now? Well, not the Sopranos, but
that family.
Yeah.
If they were still running, probably. Because
what'd you think about Silvio?
I was hoping he'd wake up because
they said he was brain dead, didn't they?
I can't remember. Maybe in a coma.
Oh, I thought they said something about
it. Might have been. I don't remember. But yeah, it's I said Silvio was my guy. I like Silvio a lot because he was kind of like Tony's. He'd tell Tony stuff that nobody else would. You know, even when it was Tony didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, you have no idea what it's like to be number one. He's like, well, he told you what he thought. You asked.
Yeah. Well, overall, I feel like every single person got what they deserved, even Tony.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that even though Meadow and AJ and Carmela seen it happen right there in front of them, I still would like to believe, and I feel like their characters went on to live a good life because all that's going to do is make Meadow even stronger to become a lawyer and stuff. And like I said, Carmela, she already was going to be able to survive without him anyway. And then AJ, he got him in kind of like the movie business.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But so that's mine and my brother's review on the Sopranos franchise. Let me know how you feel about the Sopranos. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you dig about it, what you didn't dig about it. Yeah, you better do it. Please hit that subscribe button and let your friends and family know if they like hearing movie reviews or television reviews, whatever. And like I said, once again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all who has made my channel up to 500 viewers now, or subscribers. And I know I've had somebody hit me up wanting me to do the Amityville Horror, the original Amityville Horror film, so I will be doing that. And somebody also wanted me to review all of the Wishmaster films. I've never seen them, so I'm going to do that as well. But if there's anything you would like me to review as well, as far as not just movies, but TV series, let me know. I'm pretty sure that that's all we got to say about The Sopranos. So,
Great show.
yeah. So, as always, God bless each and every one of you. And until next time.
Oh, look at that. It's like an ad for a fucking weight loss center. Before and way before.
This guy ever stop breaking balls?